Camila Araujo's story isn't one of redemption. It's a case study in how clout chasing, contradiction, and controversy can consume an influencer who thought they could game the system. What started as a burst of overnight fame from a MrBeast video quickly spiraled into one of the most bizarre and unconvincing rebrands TikTok has ever seen. And the truth is, no matter how hard Kamiya tries to polish her image, the receipts, the clips, and the chaos tell a very different story. Her introduction to fame came almost by accident. In MrBeast's viral Squid Game video, she was just one of the hundreds of contestants, a face in the crowd. She didn't win. She didn't outshine anyone. But it didn't matter. Viewers wanted to know who she was, and that curiosity was enough to turn her into a social media figure overnight. Within days, she gained tens of thousands of followers, fueled by drama accounts and news outlets eager to spotlight the girl from MrBeast's video. For most, this would have been a springboard into safe, steady content creation. But for Kamiya, it became the first domino in a long line of controversies. She leaned into the influencer lifestyle hard, TikToks, Instagram, and eventually OnlyFans when the hype slowed down. The problem wasn't just the platforms, it was how she used them. Every post, every video, every collaboration seemed to court drama, and soon she found herself at the center of one of TikTok's most chaotic collectives, the Bob House. The Bob House was never supposed to be taken seriously. Even the name started as a joke, a way for outsiders to mock the group. But instead of distancing herself, Kamiya became its loudest voice. She wasn't running it officially, but she became its face, its lightning rod, its self-appointed leader. And as anyone familiar with influencer collectives knows, being the loudest often means being the messiest. One of the earliest red flags came in her feud with Piper Rockelle. Publicly, Kamiya acted like she was standing up for morality, calling out Piper for being in spaces that didn't feel appropriate for someone her age. She even went on rants about how teenagers should be at trampoline parks or roller rinks instead of living in adult-coded environments. On the surface, it looked like she was finally drawing a line in the sand. But the second you scratched beneath the surface, the contradictions started spilling out. Because while she was lecturing Piper about protecting minors, Kamiya herself was dragging her own teenage brother into the spotlight, using him as a prop in her content, and putting him in uncomfortable situations for views. That hypocrisy only got louder when she crossed paths with Ash Trevino. Ash was infamous online, a mom who thrived on chaos and scandal, openly bragging about questionable relationships and constantly being called out for neglect. Kamiya positioned herself as Ash's foil, grilling her about parenting choices, pointing out how damaging it was to exploit children for clout. For a brief moment, it looked like Kamiya was finally taking a stand. Audiences even clapped for her honesty, believing she had finally found her moral compass. But then came the twist. After scolding Ash for exploiting her own kids, Kamiya turned around and did the same thing. She brought Ash's daughters onto her own podcast, asked invasive questions about their family trauma, and then made TikToks with them afterward. What she condemned in others, she embraced for herself. And once fans noticed the pattern, the illusion of maturity collapsed instantly. The fallout was brutal. Arguments over hotel payments, broken promises to buy furniture, endless back-and-forth live streams, it all painted a picture of someone addicted to drama, not someone rising above it. By then, even Reddit threads were turning on her. Some mocked her for rage baiting, pointing out that her entire strategy relied on provoking outrage just to drive engagement. Others went further, describing her presence as soulless, a dark energy hiding behind a fake girl boss persona, and then came the family drama. Her brother Christian, still in high school, became an unwilling centerpiece of her content. Instead of shielding him from the backlash she generated, Kamiya shoved him into the fire. On camera, she asked him how it felt to have a sister on OnlyFans. He admitted that kids at school bullied him, mocked him, and even made disgusting jokes about her content. Instead of protecting him, Kamiya laughed. She teased him. She even repeated the same nicknames his bullies used. The discomfort on his face was impossible to miss, but she kept pushing, knowing those moments would go viral. It didn't stop there. She pushed him further into conversations about her career, forcing him to play along as she paraded her wealth and mocked his ambitions. When he talked about wanting to go to college, she dismissed him, saying she would pay for it anyway with her entrepreneurship. But her definition of entrepreneurship was selling content online. And Christian, unfiltered and honest, called her out directly. The clash was raw, humiliating, and exploitative, and fans saw it for exactly what it was. Kamiya wasn't protecting her family. She was mining them for views. By the time she set her sights on Alabama Barker, the writing was already on the wall. Alabama, the daughter of Travis Barker, had her own controversies, but she wasn't about to let Kamiya drag her without clapping back. When Kamiya called her a homewrecker and claimed she didn't belong in the Bob House circle, Alabama fired back instantly. She would rather be a Nepo baby than an OnlyFans star. The feud escalated quickly, with Kamiya mocking Alabama's family tree and Alabama hinting that her lawyers were getting involved. And when that cease and desist landed, it was clear Kamiya had picked a fight she couldn't win. And then, almost as if she thought people would forget everything, Kamiya attempted a rebrand. Suddenly, she wasn't the messy Bob House girl anymore. She was a property mogul, an entrepreneur, a serious businesswoman. In an interview, she boasted about owning 11 Section 8 rentals, 1 Airbnb, and her own primary home. The problem? Nobody believed her. Fans questioned whether those properties were even hers, or if they were simply tied to others in her circle. The timing, the bragging, the sudden pivot, it all reeked of desperation. Because the truth is, you can't outrun your past when your entire career is built on exploiting it. Kamiya wanted people to see her as polished, successful, mature. But the internet doesn't forget. They remembered the way she treated her brother. They remembered the hypocrisy with Ash Trevino. They remembered the feuds, the skits, the exploitation. And no matter how many times she bragged about properties or wealth, her reputation remained stained by the choices that got her here. In the end, Kamiya's downfall wasn't one dramatic explosion. It was a slow-motion crash, one contradiction at a time, one exploitative clip after another, one feud too many. By the time she tried to reinvent herself, the audience had already moved on. They saw her not as a girl boss entrepreneur, but as someone who mistook outrage for success and forgot that credibility can't be faked. So what do you think? Was Kamiya ever serious about her rebrand, or was it just another desperate grab for attention from someone who can't stop living off chaos? Let us know your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell so you never miss what's coming next.